Hi, hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are. Today, right, very, very interesting. We have a big VC firm changing its status, right, and investing much more into crypto. So let's start on it, right? First, we have a VC firm that invests in winning companies like this, including Airbnb, Lyft, PagerDuty, Pinterest, and Slack. And you have seen, the kind of, they're all due for public listing, and this company, namely Andreessen Horowitz, right, is a venture capital. They are now going bigger, betting deeper into cryptocurrency. What are they doing exactly? So yesterday, it was reported both in Forbes and also CNBC that they are changing their status from a VC firm to a financial advisor status, to fully regulated by SEC. All 150 of their employees are now certified as financial advisor, and that means they basically have to invest a lot more money into compliance, into certification, and of course more compliance regulations, and they basically have to beef up their compliance team. But why are they doing all this? Is because they believe in the long-term potential of cryptocurrency. Because before this, they already had a fund, right, dedicated to crypto. It's called A16Z, and for that fund, the current size is only about 350 million, right? Out of a total percent of 10 billion is their total size of their total AUM. That's definitely, so it's 350 million, right? It's only like 3% or so, yeah? And for now, right, that basically what they want to do is that by changing this status to financial advisor, they have much more leverage and much more flexibility to invest higher percentage of their fund into high risk allocations, and they can invest even up to 10% of their fund, which is 1 billion of their total AUM currently of 10 billion. They can invest up to 1 billion into cryptocurrency, and this is what they say exactly. He said by renouncing the venture capital status, Andreessen Horowitz said it will go deeper on riskier bets. So for example, if the firm wants to put $1 billion into cryptocurrency or buy unlimited amounts of shares in public companies or from other investors, it can. Now, this is huge because they are currently, because it is a VC status, previous status of just a VC legal entity, just by being a VC, they have a limitation of how much they can invest in high risk projects. It is a total 20% only of their fund, and their fund size is currently at $10 billion. 20% means is 2 billion. But they have to split that high risk portion into different projects, right? So that means the direct portion into direct cryptocurrencies, that means directly into like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so forth, right, is just very, very small of that total 2 billion. And that is why currently their crypto fund, dedicated crypto fund, is only $350 million, right? But now that they're saying if they want to put 1 billion, that means they want to 3x that amount directly into cryptocurrency, they can do that, and that is key. That's basically 3x their current amount. So the other thing is, right, what does it actually mean apart from them having, more flexibility to buy high risk assets, them needing to spend more money on compliance and also making sure all their staff are fully compliant and fully becoming a financial advisor status, is that they previously had to have a separate entity, separate website, separate email addresses, right? And it is very, very difficult for the separate dedicated crypto fund to work directly with the bigger Andreessen Horowitz VC fund, right? It is very harder to collaborate, harder to partner up, harder to share information, simply because of this war in between that is that's mandated by regulation. But now, by changing the status from a pure VC fund to a financial advisor, then they have much more flexibility, and they do not need to do that anymore. So everyone can be now merged under one umbrella, and that means that also there's more flexibility to collaborate across different deals. So what exactly does this mean is that, so the VC fund has a lot of specialists, right? So for example, they're specialists in real estates, and when there's a very if there's a very prominent property that can be up for listing, up for funding, they can now collaborate with the crypto fund called Crypto Specialists, right? That they can tokenize that project, and then basically they can get more funding from a wider group of people. And this is exactly in line with the notion, with the thesis that, right, every asset, equity, bond, property, any other asset, art, right, anything that you can think of today will be tokenized, will be digitized in the future. Why? Because of the of the possibility of assets like Bitcoin, of Ethereum, XRP, and so forth, right? That enables, right, that this everything can be fractionized in that future. Yeah. And lastly, also, what this financial advisor also means is that Andreessen Horowitz is getting into Wall Street type of investment banking, because previously under a VC model, they are already giving free value-added services to their clients or to the companies that they want to invest in, because they see the potential, that they say, to the startup, you focus on your core business and we will basically, right, give you the superpowers by providing you, highest class or first class ancillary services, right? All the supporting services that you need to make sure that you focus on just your core business. So for example, they wanted to really invest themselves early on as an early investors into a biotech company, which the biotech company is still relatively under the radar, right? And they're not very interested in outside funding. But to pitch, right, is actually Andreessen Horowitz who actually have to come in with a lot of pitches saying how they can value add, that they can, bring in outside experts, bring in partnerships, providing them, ancillary services for example, like HR, right? Or legal advisors. So all this, they're pitching already. And all this previously that they're doing it for free, now under this financial advisor model, they can potentially charge it as an advisory fee, right? Yeah, so very, very interesting. And just want to highlight, right? So A16Z, if you go to their website, I've provided a link here, and they directly invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and also MakerDAO. The rest is a trust token as well. So this is very positive, because this is not just a company that invests in equity of like Coinbase. They also invest in Coinbase, but what is so key that I want to highlight is that they invest directly into cryptocurrency, and that means they believe in, really, they're not just talking, but they are really putting their money where their mouth is. Yeah. And you can see here also again in their website, in their description, what they believe in. So currently their size is 350 million, and the reason is they said already publicly, they say that by changing this status, of course, it takes a lot of cost, but benefit is that they can 3x that investment in crypto to even 1 billion. They have now full flexibility to do that. And more importantly also that, what is their investment philosophy is that they are long-term patient investors. They have already been investing in crypto assets for 5+ years, and they never sold any of their investments and don't plan to anytime soon. And they also structured their fund to be able to hold investments for 10+ years. And their fund is actually all-weather fund. That means they basically, regardless of the prices going up or down, right, they see this as a long-term play, right? So even when prices were hitting 20,000, they could have made a profit because they invested 5 years ago. They didn't, right? So that is the thing that they really believe that it has a lot more room to grow further. So that's just what I want to highlight here, right? That such and also the founders behind the company, Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz, they are two very, very rich individuals who made their money early on at the internet, because they were the one who actually developed Netscape. They're billionaires already. They're on Forbes list as well. They don't really need, right, or they could very well just invest their money into other safer ventures, right? Because there are other promising technology and growth potential areas out there as well, but they chose to invest a lot of their money into crypto. That ought to tell you, right, where the potential lies. And they're just, again, not talking the talk only, they're actually walking the talk. And the latest move of changing their company full entity from a VC fund into financial advisor and investment banking, like focusing on crypto, is really, really huge, right? So yeah, I just want to leave you with that thought to digest, right? Yeah, and we don't know whether the current rally of above 5,000 will last, but regardless, this is very key reminder that, right, what is the main reason you get into crypto, right? You need to really understand that, do your own research, right? And what's the fundamental reason? Don't just be, of course, we are all happy because of the recent price rally, but whether it continues or not shouldn't affect your main decision of whether you want to stay in this space. Yeah. So yeah, I just want to leave you with that thoughts, right? And yes, hope you're having a great day ahead, and I will speak to you tomorrow. For all my supporters and all people watching this, thank you so much for your support. Truly appreciate it.